Will.
Yes, Bob.
GamerGate.
We're doing it?
I guess.
Alright.
So, it took me a really, really long time to even figure out what it was.
Yeah, it's weird, because depending on who you ask, GamerGate can mean one of two completely different things.
Yes. What are those two things?
Well,
one of them is...
we gotta start from the beginning. This whole started because a female game developer who was working on an independent game, I believe it was with her boyfriend at the time.
Yes. That's what I heard.
Right. Was having, an affair, I guess you can call it, with somebody who worked at Kotaku, a major video game journalist site.
Allegedly.
Also,
like 4 other people.
Right.
Allegedly.
Okay. So
the girl.
Yeah, the girl. That's what we know definitely happened. From there...
That's what we know definitely allegedly happened.
Yeah. From there, it spawned 2 completely different arguments. On the one hand, it's, a whole argument about sexism in gamer culture and games media. Because, after this happened, she got labeled a slut, whore, all these bad words, got death threats, rape threats, all this and that. That's bad and that should be stopped. Like, no questions asked. But... on the other side of the spectrum, you have people saying that, well, you have a developer with relations with, a games journalist, that puts unfair spotlights towards that game, and other games get pushed aside. So to them, it's about, fairness in journalism, basically.
Which, to me, are 2 completely unrelated things.
They're 2 very unrelated things. This is honestly probably the weirdest game controversy, of the past.
And people are very passionate about it.
Very passionate.
If you look up the hashtag GamerGate, people are supporting it in both ways, in really weird ways. Like, a lot of people... I mean, I understand the whole game journalists being corrupt thing. That makes a lot of sense to be upset about that. But
right.
There are a lot of people who are making YouTube videos of themselves saying, I'm a gay African American male, and the gaming community doesn't support me. Hashtag GamerGate.
Yeah,
no, that's completely different.
That has nothing to do with anything.
I mean, we're 2 white males, so we can't attest to that side of GamerGate. But I don't feel like... I feel like I made a video on... We made a sexism video. We had Sexism Week.
This is still the worst name for a week.
I think it was a great name. But I made one on games, and I basically talked about how gaming is probably the least sexist medium. Unless you go online.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
The second you go online,
you were talking about games as a whole.
I'm talking about games.
The actual game.
The gaming media.
Yeah.
Medium.
Yeah.
The medium of video games.
The problem is...
as opposed to movies and books.
The problem is the online community...
You're talking about the culture.
The online culture. That is, for some reason, a very hostile, volatile area, especially towards women. Recently, Anita Sarkeesian, the infamous...
You said her name very well.
I watch her videos. I'm sorry. They interest me. She recently had to cancel one of her speeches at a college because somebody called in a bomb threat.
Right.
And this has happened to her 3 times. That's ridiculous. Yeah, but hopping back over to the other side of GamerGate, the fairness in journalism aspect.
That I can understand.
That's actually... I'm surprised. That's not really being brought up a lot on journalism sites.
I know.
Journalism sites.
You have the Kotaku article that they just put up.
Article up. Yeah.
They just put that up today.
Yeah.
I think it's in very poor taste because they're talking about the hashtag Stop GamerGate 2014 and they're the cause of GamerGate. So that's just... I mean, in the article they talk about both sides.
Yeah.
Which is good on them, but I don't think they should have released this article. They shouldn't have released this article without talking about it prior.
I know they did one article. I don't know if I can find it. The editor-in-chief said something, but it wasn't. He said we're not gonna fire the guy who had.
Oh, really? They acknowledged it. I didn't even know they acknowledged it.
I'll see if I can find it.
Another big gaming website that's getting a lot of shit. IGN.
Yeah, they get it.
Which I like a lot.
Yeah, we frequent it regularly.
Everybody thinks they get paid off for their reviews. Because their reviews are skewed all over the place. Yeah. But, every review website you need to take with a grain of salt because it's not you who's reviewing the game, it's somebody else who has completely different taste than you.
Yeah. Back in 2007, there's the infamous Kane and Lynch issue where GameSpot.
It's very confusing.
Yeah. GameSpot reviewed Kane and Lynch, Dead Men, gave it a 6 or something. Meanwhile, there were all these ads for Kane and Lynch all over the website. And the reviewer of Kane and Lynch, Jeff Gertzman, was fired for that. Straight up fired for it. He since went on to go form Giant Bomb, which is a very excellent website. But, that one incident, it has such a cloud over, the relationship between fans and games media still, to this day.
I always see IGN has these giant splash ads on their website. The background ads and the top banner ads, and then the stupid video rolls out. And you can't get away from it. And it plays a trailer for the game. Yeah, I remember very distinctly they did that for Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem Forever, and they gave it a 5. Yeah, and it sucked. And they still had those ads, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean that ad happens.
They don't give a shit. They don't care.
People need to understand these websites have to pay for their, pay somehow. They need to get money somehow.
That's how they make money.
Yeah, and they know it's a gaming website. Duke Nukem is a game, so maybe we should advertise.
A lot of these publishers also know that they can't buy that rating. Yeah, they can't buy that. They have to pay for the ad space. They can't pay for the 10 out of 10. They can't pay for the box quote, but apparently they do with GameSpot. Yeah. So don't read GameSpot. Yeah. I mean, that was years ago.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
there's a completely different team there now, so I don't know. I haven't visited it since then. But
I honestly never read GameSpot. I usually stick to Kotaku and IGN. Yeah. And Joystick, I sometimes.
Polygon is good too, but
Polygon.
That's off topic. So another thing I want to bring up, probably the weirdest thing I think about GamerGate, is the fact that Adam Baldwin from Firefly is involved.
Yeah, he started it.
He created the hashtag GamerGate.
Yeah, how and why?
I honestly don't know.
Is he actually a Baldwin brother?
No, he's not.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Because I saw the name and I was like, who the heck? Actor? Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, no, he's not a Baldwin brother, but he sometimes pretends to be. I think he falls on the side of journalistic fairness and integrity, that side. But it's just so weird because he's been in games before. He's been in a few games. He's been in Half-Life 2 Episode 2. He's
really?
Been in, he was I think the militia, all of them. He was in Injustice, Gods Among Us. He's in a lot of games, and the fact that he's getting involved in this, it's just so bizarre. A lot of people don't even realize he's still on TV. Firefly wasn't just the only thing he's done. But, yeah,
But other people were getting involved. Seth Rogen tweeted, hey, he tweeted at that guy and said, hey, you gotta knock this off.
Yeah, this really just has been, the strangest controversy. And and games have a lot of history with strange controversies.
It's particularly strange because there's two completely different sides.
Two completely valid sides.
To support this cause, but both of those sides that are supporting this cause don't get along.
Yeah, and it's so...
there are people who are supporting fairness in game journalism who also hate feminists.
And then there are people who want, an end to sexism and bigotry on gaming culture who aren't even acknowledging the fact that there may be a journalism problem.
Yeah, if you look at the hashtag on YouTube or the tag on YouTube, it's a lot It's a lot of people who are filming videos of themselves saying I'm a woman and I play video games and the gaming media doesn't give me a voice or whatever. Yeah. And that's totally different than the corruption in games. I mean, I guess you can draw a parallel, but there doesn't need to be one.
Yeah, I mean...
I think there are two completely separate causes.
Yeah.
Who already have their own voices.
Basically, there should just not be a GamerGate at all. Like, it should not exist. I mean, if you want to talk about, corruption in games media, that's perfectly fine. That's probably something that should be brought to people's attention. If you want to talk about, sexism and harassment towards women in game culture, that's also perfectly valid, and that should be discussed. But you have one hashtag, encompassing both of those, and neither side of the argument will really acknowledge the other.
Yeah. The fact that this girl who slept with a Kotaku writer, that this developer slept with a Kotaku writer, the fact that she's a woman has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
This controversy about corrupt gaming media would still be there because there's still a corrupt game media. The fact that she's a woman means nothing.
Yeah. Zoe Quinn, that's her name. I feel like we should give her name because she is. I mean, regardless of what she did, she's still being unfairly, harassed and
I don't think the controversy would be as big as it is if she was a man or a guy.
I feel like
because there wouldn't be the whole feminist side.
Right. Well, that's the thing. If she was a man, the whole misogyny angle would not be a factor.
But there would still be the corrupt gaming media.
Right. That would be the only aspect. Because she's a woman and because she's being, harassed and
there has to be all this other uprise that doesn't need to be there.
Well, I mean, it's no secret that, gaming message boards are some of the most horrendous places to go.
Yeah, but this incident does not doesn't have a tie to that.
This incident, you're right, the incident itself doesn't have any bearings towards, treatment of women.
Right.
But
except the fact that she's being
right, the fact, because once they found out that a woman, had an affair with a male writer, that's when all the trolls came out and just laid on, all the rape and death threats. That's where, the anti-misogynistic angle comes from.
Okay.
That's, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, there we go. Now we finally drew a parallel.
Yeah.
It only took about 15 minutes, but we drew a parallel.
Right.
So I feel like I know a little more about GamerGate now that I just had to talk it out.
Yeah. I mean,
I still think it's stupid.
It's still stupid and dumb and, women should not be treated like shit on the internet. That's something we can all agree on. And game journalism should be fair and balanced. That's something we can all agree on.
Right.
Don't have one hashtag encompassing both.
Right.
And have both sides not get along.
Right. That's just stupid. That's how you don't do a movement. Guys, what do you think about GamerGate? I'm sure you're going to tell us.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to tell us. Leave in the comments below. Add us on Twitter. We like to have conversations. We want to make this a conversational thing.
We want to talk about this civilly. We want to talk
civilly.
Yes. We want to talk about this very civilly.
We also have an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Give us ideas for shows. If you have any questions, we will answer them.
Yeah. About anything, nerdy or not nerdy. Not nerdy because we don't know that much.
Not nerdy.
Yeah.
Again, leave it in the comments below. Add us on Twitter. Thank you very much. We have Facebook, Instagram. Goodbye. Have a good week.
Yeah. In fact, it's so rampant that every time someone comes up to me and tells me a rumor they heard that I know can't be true, it takes every ounce of strength I have to just sit there and nod politely instead of going,
Resolution Gate is a horrible name for the controversy over Xbox One games releasing at a lower resolution. It's old news, but for some reason every time a game releases at a lower resolution for Xbox One, it makes headlines. Well, game media headlines, not like New York Times headlines or anything.